Have you ever found yourself in a dark place, in a deep hole that seems to have no way out? And the worst part about it is that you don't even know how you got there. What if I were to tell you that you got there based off one decision that you made? And this decision grew legs. It turned into a snowball that rolled and rolled and rolled, collecting more and more bad decisions that ultimately led you into this big dark hole of despair. I call this process the snowball effect, and the snowball effect can either work for you or against you. So let's unpack it together in this video. Yes boys, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Miko Stewart and I'm on a mission to help men become more masculine, tap into their highest selves, and I do this by sharing my own life experiences and lessons, because ultimately that is the only thing I can share. I cannot share to you stories of others with clarity and speak with ferocity, because that is not my lived experience. And I feel like there is too many people online just trying to be somebody else. And I've fallen into this trap as well. So I'm trying to come at it with a different avenue and come with positive life experience that I've had myself. Now, the snowball effect is a very interesting one because this happened to me very recently. I had clear goals set out for my day. I had a clear structure of what I needed to get done. And when I went to bed that night at almost close to 12 o'clock, and bear in mind my bedtime was supposed to be 9:30 because I'm getting up at 5 a.m. I went to bed in shock, asking myself, what the fuck happened today? How did I get to this position where I was watching 1 hour of YouTube just to unwind and try and calm down after my day of pure and utter chaos and stress? And it prompted me to take pen to paper the next morning. And it's something I've been doing for the past 2 weeks, longer in fact. But for the past 2 weeks, I've been writing one page at least when I wake up, one A4 page, to dump out my thoughts onto paper to make sense of what's going on in this chaotic place up here. And I wrote down 11 things, 11 decisions that ultimately led me to that chaos that I felt going to sleep that night. And this really brought the snowball effect theory into fruition. I've always had this idea myself and I've heard of this before, but the way I'm teaching it to you now is from my own experience. And the snowball effect is essentially a knock-on effect of one decision having an impact on the rest of your day, which ultimately has an impact on your week, your month, and then your life. So it is that important. Now, this isn't about feeling pressure to always be perfect and make the right decisions, but it's just about being aware that when you start to make these decisions, which path are they leading you down? You can either have a big, beautiful snowman that has got a carrot in his nose, he's got coal, and it's beautiful, right? You kind of just want to cuddle up and spoon that snowman. Or you can have a snowman that's got covered in dirt. You've picked up gravel when you're rolling your snowman. You've got a dead fox in there. You've got some cat shit and it's covered in piss because your dad was drinking last night and went and pissed in the garden in the morning, right? Those are the two snowmen you can create with your snowball effect. And it ultimately comes down to the decisions that you make. And for example, I just want to kind of show you some of the decisions that led to me not achieving the goals that I set out, feeling chaos throughout the day, and ultimately having a terrible knock-on effect where I felt quite pissed off and unfulfilled at the end of my day. So the first one was not in the day, it was from the night before, which was going to bed late plus overworking the night before, not having a clear cutoff point in my routine, having too many tasks on the to-do list, adding to that sense of overwhelm, and then seeking out pleasures and distractions to not deal with that overwhelm. Not giving myself enough time to do each task. So thinking that things take a lot less time than they actually do. Because in reality, when we set aside, okay, it's going to take me an hour to do this, the reality is it's probably closer to an hour and a half or 2 hours. So the lesson there is to always give yourself more time, which led to me wanting to have a go to a cafe instead of having my ready-made meal when I came home from the gym. I ended up having a coffee at 2:30. The cafe food did not make me feel good. I ended up having diarrhea on the toilet, and the woman took forever to make the smoothie bowl, which wasted a lot of my time in my day, and I ended up playing catch up. I ate a monster meal right before bed, which did not make me feel good and did not lead to quality sleep. And that is just some of the things that had that knock-on effect. But they all started really from going to bed plus overworking late the night before. So that is the power of one decision. One decision of me saying, fuck it. You don't need sleep, Miko. You've got tasks on the list. Fucking get them done. There's always another day, boys. There's always another day to do something. And if we try and cram it all into one day, we push ourselves with this pushing mentality of getting it all done. The knock-on effect is not worth the work that you would have done in that evening. The juice was not worth the squeeze, my friend. So how can we combat this? The main thing we can do is take pen to paper and identify our days, recap on the day before the following morning, or even in the evening. Write down what went down in your day. Winston Churchill, I believe, did this a lot. He would constantly do a review. I read this in the book. I think it's Stillness is the Key. He would sit down at the end of the day and he would write down basically a reevaluation of everything that happened, how he interacted with people, what he liked that he did during the day, what he didn't like, where he can improve. So reflection is key, because those little decisions ultimately do have the biggest impact. It's like that book, Atomic Habits by James Clear. The small things have the biggest results when they compound over time. So your best key is to take pen to paper, 1 A4 page, so it's not overwhelming. Write down all the things that you did during the day and how they had an effect, how they snowballed either positively or negatively, because that snowball is a very important thing to create. Okay, you want to create that big, beautiful snowman, because if you don't, you're going to be dealing with that ugly snowman for the rest of your life. You're going to be dealing with piss and dead foxes and shit, boys. All right, it's not worth it. And this is something I've really been trying to focus on and hone in, because it's the biggest impact in my life. And if we think about life in general, and if things do compound and they do have the big results, then the small decisions do make a bigger impact than we think. So we better start making some better small decisions, or at least be aware of the decisions that we do make, and accept that when we do make a bad decision, we understand where it came from and where it led us to. So just to recap on that intro, if you do find yourself in a deep, dark hole with no ladder, with no way out, and you don't even know how you got there, it's because you didn't identify the snowball effect. You didn't identify how you were creating your snowball. And that is the worst place to be in, is not knowing how your snowball was created and being somewhere in a dark hole and you don't even know how you got there. Because I work with clients one-to-one, men like you watching this video. And on our initial call, a lot of the time I will ask them, how did you get into the position that you're currently in right now? Some of them can answer, some of them can't. But it usually started with a life event, an event like stress from work, or an injury in the gym, or a family issue, losing a girlfriend, something like this. And because they didn't have the self-awareness and the reflection to see how that was snowballing them into a dark hole, they ended up in a very dark place and didn't even see a way out until they managed to come across me and I could help them. But you need to understand where you are moving. If you don't understand where you're moving, you're going to be led astray and you're going to end up being somewhere that you don't like. Now, I just want to mention something. If that does sound like something you're dealing with at the moment, and you want to take your life, your masculinity, your understanding, and your growth in life to the next level, alongside building an impressive physique, I coach people one-to-one within my community and my online coaching program, Project Rebuild. You can apply using the link in my bio if you want to join a community of strong, hardworking men who want to better their lives and be coached personally by me. So boys, I'll leave it at that for this video. Thank you very much for your time, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.